Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Praise Picks. Today we're looking at the NBA. We have the Western Conference semifinal in the NBA Cup. Uh, we have the Houston Rockets playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Las Vegas on December 14th, 2024. So currently the Rockets are 17-8, which is third place in the Western Conference, and the Thunder are 19-5, which is first place in the Western Conference. And both of these teams are playing pretty good right now because they are in the semifinals of the NBA Cup. So I'm pretty excited for this game. I'm watching the Hawks and Bucks game right now. It's a pretty good game overall, but I think that the Rockets and Thunder game will definitely be more of a defensive matchup. And I was still able to find some pretty good plays for you guys. In this video, I'll break down how I did in my last NBA video, as well as share my parlays for you guys in this one. And hopefully, if you guys tap in, you can all win. So this is the parlay that I had in my last NBA video. I went 1-1 overall, but I was able to hit my um, largest parlay of the plus 133. So Jaylen Brown did go over 3 assists, and Malik Monk did go under 21 and a half points and assists. But unfortunately, Jaylen Brown did not score that many points against the Detroit Pistons. He kind of was more of a facilitator and got a lot of rebounds, got a lot of assists, but fell short of having 32 points and assists combined. But in my Chimney Challenge video, which will come out later tonight, I'll use that, I guess $10 from that 1169 that I won in our next day of the Chimney Challenge. Before I get into my parlays for the Rockets and Thunder game, be sure to like, comment, and share for this video, as well as subscribe to my channel. Appreciate you guys for watching. Now here are the plays. So the first play that I have is a plus 180 parlay, and I have Şengün to have 5 assists, as well as Jalen Williams to have 5 assists. So Şengün, he's a pretty good center overall. He's kind of like Nikola Jokic light, or I guess I think he's a little bit better than Sabonis, but I think they're pretty comparable in terms of their play type and um, I guess how they get assists. So Şengün versus OKC this season, he's had 6 assists on November 8th, and then on December 1st he had 9 assists, and he had over 15 potential assists in both of those games. So I do think he has a good chance of getting over 5 assists in this one, especially if the potential assists are there. As I mentioned, this is probably going to be a very defensive game, but I think that he'll be able to generate assists off of the coverages that he gets on Isaiah Hartenstein. And in the December 1st game, he had 9 assists in that game, and it was primarily against Isaiah Hartenstein. Whereas on November 8th, he played against Chet Holmgren and only had 6 assists because I think Chet is just a better defender overall than Hartenstein. So in this game, there is no Chet Holmgren, and I think Şengün should be able to get over 5 assists. He's also had over 5 assists in 8 straight games and over 5 assists in his last 4 out of 5 games versus OKC. Now looking at Jalen Williams, I like him to have over 5 assists as well. So he also has had over 5 assists in his last 4 out of 5 games versus Houston, and in his last 4 out of 5 games in general. And since playing Houston on December 1st, he's gone over 5 assists in 3 out of the 4 games that he's played. So I think that he is pretty involved with the offense, especially with the second unit, and he can get assists very easily. And what I like about Jalen Williams is that the assists that he generates compared to his potential assists are always pretty comparable, meaning that whenever he passes the ball, usually it generates an assist rather than like a hockey assist or being a bad pass. He's a pretty efficient passer and is pretty good at generating assists as well. So at plus 180, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you'll have a 180% return on your investment. As always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets if you decide to place it with me. So this is the next parlay that I have. It's kind of just like a straight bet, but I have Şengün technically to have more assists than SGA when the game is over. And I think it's just a matter of how these star players will respond to the defensive coverages that they're getting in this game. I do think it'll be a more defensive game, and both teams play a decent amount of one-on-one coverage, especially Houston. But I think the one-on-one coverage favors SGA to score in this game rather than to be a facilitator. And he's gone over his line of 5.5 assists in only 4 out of his last 10 games. So I do think that he'll be more likely to score in this game rather than to pass the ball. And as I mentioned, Şengün is kind of like a Nikola Jokic light version. Um, and he's gone over 6 assists in his last 2 games versus OKC this season, and over 5 assists in 8 straight games. So I think overall, SGA will likely be the one to score the ball for the Thunder, and Şengün will likely be the one to generate points based off of his passes. And at plus 120, if you invest 1 unit on this straight bet, I'm sure that every sportbook should have a bet like this, but um, if they don't, you probably could take uh, like SGA to go under 6 assists and then Shingun to go over 5 assists. And then I would think that the odds would be pretty much the same. So at plus 120, if you invest 1 unit on this straight bet or parlay, you'll have a 120% return on your investment. And as always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets. So this is the next parlay that I have. It's a pretty simple parlay. As I mentioned, I think that SGA will be more likely to score in this game than to pass, so I have him to go under 5.5 assist total in the game. But I also think that the Thunder will win the game. I just think they're a better team overall, and even though this game is in Las Vegas, I just think that the Thunder play with a chip on their shoulder. That while Houston is kind of like growing into their own form and becoming kind of underrated in terms of like their level of talent relative to everybody else in the league, I think the Thunder overall are just a way better team, and it shows by the record. They're the number one team in the West, and I think they'll show it tonight. So at plus 195, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, I have half a unit on this one because I already have Shangun to go to have more assists than SGA, so I don't want to have kind of like two bets against SGA for 1 unit. But at plus 195, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have a 195% return on your investment. As always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these if you do decide to place it with me. So these next two parlays that I have focus on Fred VanVleet. I think he has a pretty good matchup in this game versus OKC, even though they are a good defensive team. And I think it's kind of just like a buy low spot on his production lately. And I think he just will have a better game than he's had in his past 5 games. So in the parlay on the I guess the middle, like I guess on the left side, the first parlay at plus 195. I have him for 10 points and then to go under 3.5 rebounds in this game, as well as for Isaiah Hartenstein to have 10 rebounds. And the parlay on the right side is the exact same, except I have Shangun to have 10 rebounds rather than Hartenstein. Starting with Fred VanVleet. So in his last games versus OKC, he had 11 points and 3 rebounds, and then he had 38 points and 2 rebounds. And then when he had 38 points, that was in the game that Hartenstein started because of Chet being injured. I noticed in the film study that OKC plays a lot of drop coverage defensively, leaving the pick and roll ball handler open for a 3 when facing a screen. And that's the reason why I like Shangun assist in this game, because I think that Shangun can get the ball at the top of the key, set a screen, pass VanVleet the ball, and then VanVleet will have an open 3-point shot, or he'll be able to dribble in for a mid-range shot, which is why I like his points in this one. And I wouldn't mind taking his threes as well, but his 3-point shooting is kind of just like, it's kind of iffy for me, so I just prefer him to get 10 points. He's also going under 4 rebounds in 4 out of his last 5 games. So, and in both of the games versus OKC, he went under 4 rebounds, and his highest numbers of rebounds was 3 rebounds. So I think that the rebounds will mainly go towards like Hartenstein and Shangun and like Amen Thompson, as well as like Jalen Williams, but not necessarily to Fred VanVleet, who will be defending SGA for the most part and will probably be at the top of the key or just a little bit too far away to get enough rebounds to go over 4 in this game. And in terms of the rebounding for Hartenstein compared to Shangun, I think that both of them could get double-digit rebounds in this game. It just depends on the coverage that each team plays. I kind of like Hartenstein more to get 10 rebounds because he usually is closer to the basket than Shangun, but I could easily see one of these guys getting into foul trouble and then the other one getting 15 rebounds in this game. So that's why I have half a unit on each of these so that if one goes over 10 rebounds and the other one doesn't, I'm pretty much covered. But at plus 195 and at plus 240, if you invest 1 unit on either of these parlays, you have a 195% or a 240% return on your investment. As always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets if you do decide to place it with me. So in this next parlay, it's a plus 250 parlay, and they're pretty much focused on Jalen Green and his defensive matchup against Lou Dort. I think it's just going to be a very difficult matchup for him in this game. So I do favor his assists out of all of his stats, but I do think that Jalen Green will have a pretty tough game overall. But in this parlay, I have him over 2.5 assists. I think that he'll likely have to be forced to pass the ball with Lou Dort guarding him. which will lead to potential assists from like Şengün or Jabari Smith or Fred VanVleet to some extent, which is why I added Fred VanVleet to had 2 3-pointers in this one, as well as for Lou Dort to have 2 3-pointers. I think that especially if Jalen Green is guarding Lou Dort, Jalen Green isn't really the best defender ever, so uh, Lou Dort should have a good game here. And I already spoke upon Fred VanVleet and his potential to score, but in terms of Lou Dort, like just to add a little bit more detail, he's had over 5 3-point attempts in his last 5 games, and he's had back-to-back games with over three threes made. So I do think it's a good chance of having over 2 3-pointers in this game. So at plus 250, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, I put half a unit on this one. You'll have a 250% return on your investment. As always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets. So these next 2 parlays, as I mentioned, will be focused on Jalen Green. At plus 130 and at plus 280, I have half a unit on each of these. Starting off with the parlay on the left side, I have Jalen Green to go under 18 points in this game and for Fred VanVleet to make 2 3-pointers. Like I mentioned, Jalen Green will have a very difficult matchup versus Lou Dort in this game. And in his last 2 games versus OKC, he's only scored 14 and 9 points. And in the game that he scored 14 points, he took 8 field goal attempts total. And in the game he scored 9 points, he took 6 field goal attempts total. So I just think that Lou Dort defensively is like probably first team all defense and will force Jalen Green to pass the ball more often. And he rarely shoots the ball, especially in his last 2 games versus OKC. So I think that much of the same will happen in this one. So I also like him to have 3 assists, like I mentioned before, but also to go under 5 rebounds. I'm not really sure why his rebounding line is this high. In his last 2 games versus OKC, he had 4 rebounds, and that was in the game that he scored 14 points. And then lately, he's had 2 rebounds in the game that he scored 9 points. So I guess he is a sneaky good rebounder, but with Lou Dort guarding him, I just don't really see him going into the paint that much or really like having a chance to get 5 rebounds in this game unless he is like going extra try hard, which I don't think he will because I think he'll have a struggling game offensively. But at plus 130 and plus 280, if you invest 1 unit on these parlays, you have 130 and 280% return on your investment. As always, have bankroll consciousness and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets. So this is the last parlay that I have of the video. It's my long sharp parlay at plus 875. Focus on the Jalen's in this game. So, like I mentioned, I think Jalen Green will have a pretty difficult game offensively, but I think Jalen Williams could have a great game offensively. So I have Jalen Williams to score 15 points and to make 2 threes, as well as for Jalen Green to go under 18 points, under 5 rebounds, and over 3 assists. I think that if you were to like remove one of the picks from this parlay, I feel like probably the least confident about Jalen Williams to make over 2 threes. I think he'll definitely take the volume of threes, but with Houston playing one-on-one coverage, it kind of favors Jalen Williams to drive to the basket and take mid-range shots or layups rather than 3-point shots. So the 3-point shots kind of have to be like whenever he's open, or like he would have to choose to take them. And he's not really like much of a 3-point shooter like a Steph Curry, But I just added it because I think that he likely will be able to make 2 3-pointers. But if you guys want to reduce this from like plus 175 or plus 875, sorry, to maybe like around like plus 500, plus 600, I probably would remove the Jalen Williams to make 2 3-pointers. But I put a little bit more than half a unit on this parlay. And at plus 875, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have an 875% return on your investment. It is a long shot parlay, so I kind of am just doing it for the fun of when I watch the game, and I do hope it hits. But as always, just have bankroll consciousness and an understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets if you do decide to place it with me. Appreciate you guys' time. Hope the information was valuable, and I hope this is a pretty good game overall. In the meantime, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for a Chimney Challenge video coming out later today, as well as an NFL video coming out either tonight or tomorrow. But as always, appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, peace.